Hey, everybody, just a quick warning. In this episode, there's going to be discussions of loss of life and some pretty sad topics, so just please take care while listening. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to The Sober Experience, formerly known as The Spiritual Experience, where we share stories of overcoming problematic situations in life through triumph and working together, as well as recovery topics and all other forms of spirituality, self-help, and the like. I'm your host, Jay Lewis, and here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's the Sober Experience. I hope you guys are having a great week. And please like and subscribe on all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, everywhere. We've been doing really good with the numbers. Thank you for spreading the word. Okay, this week we have first time having two special guests on at the same time, two people that I've known actually for a pretty long time. One of them is my cousin, and the other one is the reason why he's still alive. So everybody, I want you to say hello to Gisette and Angel. You guys say hello.
Hi.
Yep. Hello.
All right, so we'll start with Gisette. First things first, Gisette, where are you from?
I'm originally from Colombia, but I was raised in Queens Village, like by Long Island.
Yeah, it's like on the border of like Queens
Yeah.
and Long Island. So what was it like out there as a kid?
Amazing.
Not
Yeah.
the Bronx.
It's not the Bronx, right?
I was outside with no worries, bouncing a ball by myself, no problems.
What were you into?
Bike riding
Yeah,
and Barbies.
Barbies. All right, do you have any siblings?
No.
Oh, look at you, the princess.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you
spoiled.
got that your whole life.
Oh, yeah. I'm still getting that.
Still getting it.
Still getting it. I love it. All right, and what kind of kid were you in school?
I was a nerd. I was picked on. I was quiet, but I made friends very easily.
Yeah.
And I was really good at everything that I did. And, like, my grades were really good. I was student of the month every month. And, yeah, I came home and I made my mom and dad proud because I knew I was going to Toys R Us if I gave them good grades.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. I remember, because I grew up very close with your husband. There was a Toys R Us that was like 5-minute drive from his house over there because he's from the north, the north side of the Bronx. And when we would take like the thruway and we'd pass the thruway and it'd be like Yonkers Raceway and the Toys R Us would be right there.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell everyone where you're from, Lou.
Like you said, Uptown, Bronx area, White Plains Road, by the Jamaicans. Well, it turned into the Jamaicans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember he lived in the same building as two of my aunts. My Aunt Lucy, my Titi Lucy lived on the first floor. Behind, in the back of the building, my Titi Clara lived there, and she dated the freaking super. This crazy guy's name was Longo. He was like, if you could imagine, like, if they were shooting like a 1970s or 80s movie, like just a sloppy Puerto Rican super with like the white wife beater shirt on. He was missing teeth and he was loud. That was him.
Oh, no.
That was him.
Bald head.
Yeah, bald head with big eyes, the whole thing.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, this crazy Longo. And he would yell at us. We were making noise in the hallways and stuff and whatever. Yeah, it was a different time. It was like in the 80s.
Yeah, we lived in that building for like 20 years.
Forever. Yeah. And then Myra lived a block away on Furman.
For a little while, yeah.
Yeah, she lived there for a while too. So everybody like in my side of the family stayed pretty close. So I remember when Angel was in high school, that's when he became a dad for the first time, right?
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was crazy. I mean, it was towards the end of high school. I actually went into the military at 18, went into the Navy because I knew I was having a kid.
Right.
I knew I had to do something, and I knew where I was at wasn't it. So I went into the military, and my daughter was born while I was in the Navy.
Right. You did 4 years, right?
I did 4 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so when you come out of the Navy, Are you thinking about having a family? Or are you just thinking about doing your own thing? Like, what's going through your mind?
Well, me and my daughter's mom, we were still on and off. So we was on and off for a long time. So I still had them around. So when I came back home, was living in Yonkers with them, back and forth, and then eventually I just went on my own.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you, Gisette, when you were in high school, did you go straight to college, or like, what did you do after that?
Yeah, I did. I went straight to college. I didn't waste no time. I did not have any kids in high school, that's for sure.
Good for you. Listen,
It was insane. Like, there was a girl that I was cool with, and she was pregnant in high school, and everybody was looking at her like, oh my God, like they seen a unicorn.
right,
So it was crazy to see something like that where I came from.
right. But also, like, in your family, like, is that also, like, not a lot of that kind of stuff goes on?
No, like, the first thing they put in your head is, don't you dare get pregnant.
Right.
Don't you dare be sleeping around. Like,
So they did with us. We
Yeah.
was hard-headed. We didn't listen.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know any one of us that didn't have a kid early.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Timothy has so many kids.
Yeah.
Right? He's got so many kids. Val has Val, she went to college,
Yeah,
and
Val
Amanda
did-
went to
Val
college.
did
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
But everybody else, we're just like, hey, it's the 90s. You know?
Us, it was like if we heard something like that happening in somebody's family, we were like, oh my God. Like, it was,
Right.
it was
But with us,
crazy.
generations.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, my mom is the youngest out of all the sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom got married at 30, and they were like, you're an old lady.
See?
At 30 back then. Like, what? Everybody, that's why all, like, you know, your husband, he's my second cousin, and we're the same age almost. Like, his mom is my first cousin.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because it was just from that time.
Yeah.
So where did you two meet?
We met in college.
I remember you were studying, right?
Yeah, you was there in the beginning. I was studying, and she was in the same accounting class as me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think I hit you up like, Jay, there's this little chick in my class. I need you to take me to pick her up.
Let me tell you something. He was so funny. He was just like, and mind you, I mean, with the type of like family that we come from, like, the men are pretty macho.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually funny now as an adult. You look at it like, oh, you stupid ass. But like when you're growing up, they're like, no, man. Like, you know, it's like all the, you know, Puerto Rican machismo stuff. And he's like, yo, Jay, there's this girl in my class. Yo, she's so bad. Everybody's on her. But I'm not going to pay her any mind. Because everybody's on. I can't,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But I'm letting you know, bro, she's a 12.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's like, but I can't. He's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Everybody else there, I'm not going to play myself.
He
Did
wasn't lying. He was not trying at all.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you think when you saw him?
I thought he was trouble. Like, he came into school, it was in the summertime that we took this class. And he had these, like, tank tops on. And all he had was muscles and nothing but a bunch of tattoos. I've never seen so many, like, a person with so many tattoos.
And I didn't have a lot that back then either. I
And
way
he
more.
had a beard, and he was just, like, bald, and I didn't even know.
And Tim's on
Yeah.
in the summer.
In the summertime.
In the
summer.
summertime in
Which school is this?
Berkeley
Berkeley. Where's that?
Berkeley College.
by
and,
Bryant Park.
Yeah, right by Bryant Park.
Oh, man, that's a nice scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw him, I was like, oh, this looks like fun.
Right.
That's what I thought.
All right, so who made the first move?
Well,
She did.
actually, I set a trap to make him
Oh, yeah.
make the
yeah.
first move because I didn't understand. Like, you know, he kept looking. So he sat, like, in the second row closest to the front,
Mm-hmm.
and I sat, like, in the back. And he would turn around and act like he was looking at something, but I know he was looking at me. And I have friends in there, and they're like, he looks at you when you're not looking. Like, he hasn't made a move yet. And I'm like,
Snitches.
Mhm.
on my side. And I'm like, nothing. And so, you know, I set a trap one day. I said, today's the day. I did my makeup. I put on a little skirt. And
Some heels.
heels, and we left the classroom and I went downstairs and I waited for him to come outside, but he didn't come outside directly after class. I think he went upstairs to like the library and then he came down. He was focused in that school and I was just like, why isn't he paying attention to me? And then when he came out, I let him pass me and then I told my friends, watch this.
Oh my God.
And I started strutting my walk like I was on a runway. And I passed by him.
I seen her walking through the cars, like the windows in the car, and I see her walking behind me. I was like, today's the day I'm going to say something. Because I know I had time. I'm like, we in class. All these guys in the school's beasting on her.
Right.
I'm like, I got plenty of time to talk to her.
Yeah.
And seeing her come walking, and I just asked her, like, where she was going. I was like, you look nice today.
You look nice today.
Like a gentleman.
Yeah.
And then,
Surprising.
yeah, I heard him, but then I was like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And he's like, you look nice today. I was like, thanks. And then I let it go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was going to the train, but I'm going uptown to the train. She's going downtown to work. So I was like, which way you going? I'm going to walk with you. She's like, oh, I'm going this way. I was like, oh, I got to go that way too. Total opposite way I had to go.
Right.
Walk till we go to CVS, walk around. I think I got her number that day.
Yeah.
And
And you guys started dating.
then we started talking. Then I started messaging you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Jay, I need you to take me downtown. I remember we picked her up one time in your work van.
Yeah.
She had a little skirt on with heels, and we put her in the back of a rug van. They
Yeah.
probably looking at us like they about to do a
They
show.
about to kidnap her or something.
Something.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
Almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Almost 10 years.
So, you guys start dating. What happens next?
Well, he had just gone into this apartment in Yonkers, and I had never been on that side before. I never left the Long Island area ever. Like, if I went to the city, I went to the city, and I came right back. But when I went into that apartment, he didn't have a couch. He
I have
didn't have a
nothing.
bed. He had a
Air mattress.
blow-up bed, yeah. And it didn't
But it was
scare
nice.
me.
It was nice, clean apartment.
Yeah.
And it was new, so it would look like nice.
That was the one where we
Yonkers.
came up there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
It was a nice spot. I had a cardboard box. I used to put these chairs on
Right.
and eat my food on the cardboard box. And she sat there with me and ate.
Yeah.
And I cooked for her the first time some steak and tortones.
I was going to say, do you
And that-
remember?
Steak and tostones.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I really never got that treatment from a man before. Like, I never got the let me cook for you treatment. It came different rather than let me take you out to dinner, because it meant like you were trying more to me.
Right.
Anybody could take you out to dinner and show you a pretty place. But for you to actually make food that tastes good and they made it for you, that to me meant more.
Right. So right away, he's like separating himself on, not even on purpose.
No.
Because it's all he had.
Yeah.
He
It's all
didn't-
it's all he had, and then he made like this garlic sauce that his grandmother taught him to make,
Mm-hmm.
and it was amazing. And I
Yeah,
was
for
like,
the
wow.
totones, right?
Yeah.
Called mojito.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
The
Yeah.
ajo. And it was crazy, and I would go back and tell my friends like, wow, like, and a bottle of wine, and we were eating this and that, and it was so good. And I'm not paying attention to no cardboard box and where I'm sitting, and that he doesn't have a whole setup or anything.
Yeah, it was a speaker. And
Yeah.
We was listening to music, dancing. It was cool. It was good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to go out a lot back then and go out, have drinks, and just she was young, and
She was legal.
yeah,
That was legal, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
'Cause he's 7 years older than me.
Which is nothing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like when you were going back home? Like you tell your mom, your friends, like,
No, her mom was like-
I'm hanging out with this guy,
No,
the muscle man
Yeah.
with the kids and the beard,
yeah,
I had these two friends at the time that I thought were my best friends.
right?
And they started to like immediately kind of like separate themselves from me when he came around, and I was just like, I found it weird. And he was just telling me like, I don't know, something's off about them.
Right.
Me
But they're her friends for a long time.
for a long
For some
time.
reason, they ain't like me. My mom didn't like me.
My mom did not like him.
Her mom didn't talk to me for like the first 3-4 years.
Hmm.
Right.
She didn't talk to me.
My mom saw a Navy guy,
No, a Navy guy, a Bronx guy.
a Bronx, yeah, but even you tell her military, and she's like, military? Like, she thinks it's too strict, too tough, too...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
she
what it
yeah,
was.
He beating you and sniffing cocaine.
Yeah.
I ain't do neither.
She's like, Puerto Rican?
Yeah, that too.
Those
Kids,
men
yeah.
hit their women. And
That's not all of us.
no,
definitely not.
no. And she saw the tattoos, and that's not something where she comes from. In our country, you don't see that.
Right.
Or they didn't see that. You know what I'm saying? So
Old school, very old school.
very, very old school. So she wanted no part in it.
Mm-mm.
Right.
And gave me a hard time for years, and no matter what, I just stayed there, and he turned out to be something
I used to push her.
completely
We used to
different.
argue, and I used to be like, "Why you need to leave me? Go back to your mom."
Yeah.
I used to fight with her on purpose because her mom was all she had,
Hmm.
and I used to fight with her on purpose so she could go back to her mom because I felt bad,
Yeah.
and she would never leave, no
Okay.
matter what. And I used to be mean.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She used to not. She would never leave. Like, you need to leave. Why are you here? And I was struggling at that time. I was like, you need to go back to your mom. Why are you sitting here with me on this couch? Go back to your house. She would never leave me.
Yeah.
That's why when I got on, I've been spoiling her ever since.
Yeah, but it's like, that whole thing is that people, when you're reliving it, it's like, wow, man, it's like a process.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like an event, like, boom, here we are.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just like your friends. It's one thing if they're like, yo, he's a zero, whatever. It's another thing if they just like distancing themselves from you.
Hmm.
That must have felt like betrayal.
Oh yeah. big time
Yeah.
for her.
I mean, it was really hard for me because, one of them specifically, she helped me through a breakup,
Right.
like a really tough breakup. And this was years before I met him. And then she helped me through another breakup, and we were friends for years. And then when that started happening, I just wasn't understanding. I was always there for her. She was always there for me. And I thought, she used to always tell me, like, a guy's supposed to treat you like this and like that. So when I came back to her, like, oh my God, I found him. And I wasn't looking for him. And I didn't expect this from this person. She was just kind of like, okay.
Hating.
So I was like, did she expect me to always struggle and not find the one? Or I never got the answer to that. I never understood it.
Yeah. And plus also, how old were you at the time?
24.
Yeah. 24. You think about that now, like, who knows anything at 24?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
What do we say? They probably still got bad credit at 24.
Yeah.
So you guys move in?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I
we
was
moved
the
in
one
kind of right away.
Yeah.
Like she should just.
Like she came for a sleepover?
Yeah. Then she took over the big closet.
Ah!
Yeah. Quick.
What was that like? Is it like magic? Like in the beginning when you guys are like playing, me and my friends, we call that like playing house.
Remember I said that?
It's like, yo, that's what I used to tell my son that when he's back. I'm like, oh, what are you guys playing house now?
Well, that's what I told him. I'm like, there's one thing that I remember about Jared when I first met you. I mostly remember that ride when you took us to my mom's to go get my stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you looked over at me, you said, what are you going to do? You going to play house now? That's what I remember about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like that puppy love thing. That's like the most
Yeah.
purest, beautiful thing where it's just like, all right, do we have to get all serious and crazy? And like, no, like, let's just play house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Like,
remember
we were having fun.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Like my landlord was so mad at me.
So
'Cause when
mad.
I first got my apartment, I was like, he didn't want to rent to me really, and I was like, it's just me and my son. I just need a place, whatever. I'll give you the down payment. He's like, are you sure? I had bad experiences. He was
meanwhile,
looking for like an older.
yeah, but meanwhile, like you're a veteran.
Yeah.
You have these stipends and all this, like, the military's helping you go to
Yeah,
school. And then
yeah.
like, what the hell is, that's like, you know what I'm saying?
So he
I would love a tenant like that. Like, oh, the military's giving you
He was hesitant, but because of that, he did.
Cool.
But like not even 3 months, 4 months later, now I got her in the house, and we having sex like 10 times a day.
Yeah.
But
and,
disrespectfully.
like loud. And
Yeah.
I know his girl was like looking at him like, the fuck is going on up there?
Right.
Like, if we think about it now, like, if we had tenants like that, I would be pissed off.
Yeah.
Because, like, we would come drunk, and we wouldn't even make it into our door to the apartment. We'd be on the staircase,
Yeah.
Just
like,
loud.
just,
And
yeah.
then
Yeah, just young, in love,
Yeah.
loud.
yeah,
Yeah.
having fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
never, it was never really official, though. Like, he never made it, like, official. I came from, you're going to ask me, you're going to hold my hand, you're going to say, will you be my girlfriend? That's the world I came from. And when we're hanging out, and we're arguing like crazy, because that's another thing. We used to argue so much.
Yeah, we used to argue about stupid stuff.
Stupid stuff, but a lot. And he comes from the Bronx, and I come from damn near Long Island. And when I argue, it's different. We don't curse at each other. We don't need to do that. But with him, he curses every single time he speaks. And I'm just here, like, getting hit and crying.
Not hit.
Not
don't say
hit, but, like, hit with these words. And I'm just like, oh, like, you know, it was tough. And I'm, like, crying. And he's like, why are you always crying? And I'm just like, I come from a different world. So we're arguing and all of that. And I'm like, you know, we argue. You don't have to be mean just because I'm not your girlfriend. And he's like, turns over at me. He's like, just because. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like, you never asked me. And then he's like, you're with me all day, every day. You're my girlfriend whether you like it or not. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that was it.
Next thing I know, I was in Bryant Park eating Chipotle. That's how I say it.
Sitting on
Eating
the grass.
Chipotle, sitting on the grass every day for lunch. I don't even like Chipotle, bro.
Oh,
I ate that shit for like 3 months.
it sounds perfect.
It was
was.
cool.
Yeah.
We still go to Bryant Park now every time we come here. That's why I proposed to her. We had our first kiss, first like lunch, proposed,
Oh,
brought the first kid there. So it's a like little special spot for us in New York.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
No.
It's a beautiful place.
It is.
I
Oh, she met my kids there for
Yeah?
the first time. We watched the movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they have the movies in the summertime there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I never took Emily to the movies in the summertime, but we spent. I remember this is how I knew my wife. Like, I guess this is her way of asking me to be her boyfriend. I don't know. But I took her to stay for an evening at the Bryant Park Hotel, where I used to go there all the time, and I took her and I was like, yo, blah blah blah. You know, I remember I worked all day and I spent the whole day's pay. Like, yo, I'll get us a room, thinking, you know what I'm saying? And so whatever, we're there, and it's just it's similar to you, the two of you together, and it's just like magic. And they have, at that time, I don't know if this is so long ago, they had like the nice like waterfall showers. So I go to get in the shower, and then she comes to get in the shower. This is not TMI. And she looked at me and she's like, I don't get my hair wet for nobody. And then she came in the shower with me. She's like, just so you know, I don't get my hair wet for nobody. And I was like, oh my God. So that whole space is
Yeah,
special
yeah.
for us too.
Yeah.
You know, like all the time we're like, yo, Brian Park. She's like, yup. She's like, I let the curls out.
That's funny.
So it's nice. So yeah, so you guys are building your relationship together. You're living together. What happens next?
I think he hit like a harder financial road than what he was in. And so he had to let go of that apartment. And he went to Virginia to stay with one of his boys from the Navy to see if he could like get on his feet there. And that's the first time that we parted ways, or we were separated from each other but not broken up.
For how long?
How long?
How long? I wasn't there that long. Maybe a month.
You went
wasn't
from
there long.
Virginia to Arizona,
No.
or yeah.
Why? What was the whole Florida part? Because I was in Florida.
Or maybe it was Virginia to Florida to Arizona.
No. So backtrack. So before I left Yonkers, I took her to meet my mom in Florida,
Oh, yeah.
and I took her to meet her over there for the first time. And the second day, the first night I got there, I went out with my sister's husband,
Oh yeah, and
and
yeah.
I got arrested.
Yeah.
And some crazy bull crap. So now kind of fighting the case. So that was one of the reasons why I also had to leave my apartment, because they were saying I had to stay in Florida while I was fighting
I
the case.
remember that. Yeah.
So then on the way from from New York to Florida, I stopped in Virginia, tried to make some money, tried to get on my feet over there. I was going to stay there. I was closer. It wasn't working out, so I went to Florida. And then I was staying there. She just, like, I'm coming with you. And I'm like, no, you need to stay over there while I get on my feet. No. So she came down, stayed with me at my sister's house. And it was all bad there.
All
I was
bad.
fighting the case. And I finally convinced her to go back to her mom. And that's when I went to Arizona. Then I started getting on my feet over there.
Yeah. And then what, you called and said, come out to Arizona?
No. I was like, she's like, I'm coming to Arizona.
Uh,
I didn't call her and say, come to Arizona. She's like, I'm coming to Arizona.
Right.
And then she came out there. Long story short, I started getting on my feet. She came, and we got a nice, dope-ass apartment over there.
it was my first time going to Arizona, and I'm
First time
thinking-
leaving New York
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's the desert. I mean, I left New York to go to
Yeah.
Colombia
to visit. Yeah. First
and
time moving.
go back and forth, but I went to go visit him in Arizona. I loved it so much that on that visit, I applied to an apartment for the first time in my life. I had never done that.
Right.
And so I was like, I want to apply to an apartment here. He's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And I was working for Chase Bank at the time, and I was new. I had just finished the hiring class and everything, and I asked him to transfer me. And the manager's like, if you could find a position and a manager that's willing to take you in Arizona, then I'll approve it. And I did.
What were you doing at Chase?
I was a bank teller.
I worked there too for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another story. it didn't end great for me or for them. So then now you guys are living in Arizona,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your son living at the time when you guys are there?
At first, he was with his mom while I was getting on my feet.
Right.
And then after we was there for a couple months, I moved him back down there with me.
Right.
So then he was with us.
Right. And Angelina?
Angelina's in New York with her mom.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So you guys are out there. How long?
We were there for almost 4 years.
Still, I don't want no kids. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't do kids yet. Obviously, you see the story. I'm trying to get my shit together.
Right.
She want kids. I'm like, can't have no kids right now.
Well, at first I was like, okay, we're serious now,
Yeah, because how long had you guys been together by this time?
Probably like 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, but 2 years, you did like 10 years worth of living in
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah. 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we cut a lot of the story out. Yeah.
No, but
Especially
it's just
that
like,
whole arrest case.
Yeah,
Like,
the
put it
stuff
this,
with-
when I got arrested, nobody was coming to save me.
No.
Only her. They were telling her, leave him in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go back home, leave him in there.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna say who was saying that, but
Yeah.
they was telling her that. She didn't leave.
yeah.
She stood around. She got
And
me
I
out.
was-
She got me out of there.
I had his daughter and his son.
Oh yeah.
His son was 4 or 5 years old. His daughter's like 12, 13, around there.
Right.
And I'm like, I've never been around kids like this. I've had the responsibility like this, and I was freaking out.
That's nice.
And
It's funny
was
story
insane.
about
She
that.
could have ran.
Yeah,
I
she could
could've-
have left.
No.
I was told, drop each one of the kids at their mom's house and forget you ever met him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they was telling her to disappear.
Yeah.
And then to make matters worse, aside from what the heck they were trying to like arrest him for and all that, they tell me that he has a kid in Miami.
They didn't want to let me out because they saying that I owe child support on the kid in Miami.
Right.
I don't have no kids in Miami, I call her from in there, and she's like, "What the fuck? You got another kid?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Long story short, they had the wrong Angel Pacheco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the wrong one.
Well, it's not an uncommon name.
Apparently,
Yeah.
you know.
It was nuts.
Yeah. But
And
but at the time, it's like, it's a tough spot for you to be in. I mean, I can see. I mean, I've known you for a long time, and I've never once thought that you would ever abandon him.
yeah.
I don't even know why. But I was just like, yo, it's fucking other. I'd be like, yo, M Dog, she's still hanging in there. And Emily be like, yo, that's
Yeah, she seen something in me that nobody seen.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you have somebody who comes from a different background than our background, right? So she can see good because she comes from good. You know what I'm saying? Where, so I'm not surprised that she could see it. I don't know how, but it makes sense where you're like, no, he has like, there's 84 pieces and 68 of them are broken. But the other ones, he's taking care of his kids. He's trying his hardest. He keeps getting kicked in the face, and he keeps on going, and he's not quitting. And all these, like those morals, what I'm saying? They're in the right spot. They're underneath all this rubble of our family. Our family puts this rubble on top of all of us. And then they all grow out of it, whatever. But so I'm not surprised that she didn't leave. But like, it was getting hairy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought when we got to Arizona, I was like, okay, it's going to calm down now. Now we're going to be good. But then I met his other love of his life, which is poker.
Right.
And he was coming home 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning playing poker. And
Right.
I was like, I didn't know anything about poker.
Yeah, I got addicted to poker for a minute.
I'm like,
But I was doing good, so it wasn't really an addiction. I feel like addiction is when you losing.
yeah,
I was
he was
doing good.
winning.
Coming home 3,000-4,000. Wake up, we going shopping. Wake up, we going to buy furniture.
But I was pissed.
She was pissed.
Yeah.
I was locking the door and telling him, you coming home with the sun, I'm locking the door. I don't care how much money you make.
Sometimes, because sometimes I come with a big enough bag. We in the pool at 5 in the morning swimming happy because I just made a bag.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know for you, like, the time
Yeah,
means everything.
yeah. Because I feel like you have to be fair. Just because you're a man doesn't mean that you get to do those things. Because if I'm a woman and I come home at that time, you know what everybody's going to think of me,
Right.
And it wasn't until one night, he took me to the poker room. And he got into an intense hand. And I was falling asleep prior to. He got into an intense hand, and I was just like, I couldn't even breathe. I was like, oh, my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And I was so excited, and then he like won, and I was like, it was like you were all the way down and then all the way up, and then before you know it, and then I'm like, I get it now.
Yeah.
So I started understanding that part of him, and I realized there's worse things he could be doing.
Right.
It was like my
And-
job. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
It was a night job.
Yeah.
She,
So when did you convince him that you're like, okay, now I want to be a mom. Fucking enough is enough.
Well, first I wanted to know, like, do you want to get married? Because I always dreamt of a wedding and getting proposed to in a marriage. And then he was telling me that he never really wanted to get married. That's not something he ever thought about. But if the right person came along, and I'm like, well, am I the right person? And we started talking about it, and he started getting, like, I guess, like, warm to the idea, I guess you could
Open.
say. And so he was open to it, yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm good with open. I'll be patient.
Right.
I feel like the majority of our relationship has been a lot of patience.
Sure.
And so, like 4 years in, I'm like, okay, where is this ring? And I remember we got into it. I was like, you need to tell me.
we started talking baby stuff first.
No.
No? Yeah, because when it was before we got engaged that you got pregnant.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
She always talked about marriage since the
No.
day we met.
It was I got engaged and then that happened. Because we were living in Arizona.
Yeah,
But I was
no.
engaged.
I think it was after.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was after. So she always wanted a ring, and I'm like, I knew at this point that I wanted to propose to her, but you know me, Jay. I was like, I don't want to give her just a little ring, what I can
Right.
afford. I want to get her the big ring.
Meanwhile,
gotta
she
wait.
doesn't mind eating on the cardboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Right.
She just wants
But
you.
we got to this point now. I'm making money now, and
Yeah.
she's been around. She stuck through the hard times. I want to give her what I always told her, like, don't worry, I'm going to give you everything.
Right.
So now I'm like putting money to the side. I want this ring. I'm taking her. We looking at rings,
Yeah.
and I'm like, now I'm getting an idea of what she likes, but I know how much I want to spend. And she didn't care. She would have took a little ring, but I ain't want to have a little ring. You see her ring.
Yeah.
So she was impatient with. That was the only thing she was always impatient about. Like, she used to argue with me. When the fuck are you gonna propose to me already? I'm like, calm down. Like, we're gonna propose. But then we started. Then she was talking about the baby thing, and we decided we gonna start trying.
Right.
And we always joked around because he had kids easily. We always joked around. I'm like, whenever we both decide that it's a yes, I'm going to get pregnant like this.
Right.
And it's going to be right away.
Right.
So it was never a concern for us that, like, especially for me, I always felt like, oh, that's going to be, like, we don't even have to discuss it. Like, it's just we're on the same page. Yes, yes. Okay, let's do it. That's it. It was
Right.
gonna happen.
Well, you did. So then she got pregnant.
Right.
And then
So what happened?
I got pregnant, and then one morning I started cramping and I started bleeding. And it was my first time, so I didn't know what was going on.
How long were you pregnant?
I don't know. I think I was like 8 weeks pregnant. Like, we had just found out.
Mm-hmm.
We were shocked and everything. And
We was excited.
yeah.
Finally, now I'm excited to have another kid. I didn't want to do before because you see all the struggles.
And I didn't want it to be like a news that I'm sharing with him where now what do we do? I always wanted him to have that right of saying, I'm so happy about this. Like, I wanted
Right.
it to be different. I
Yeah.
wanted to give him something different, a different experience. So, that morning I had to go to work. I was working for PayPal, and so he was like, just call a doctor and see if that's normal. And then when you Google it, it says that it's normal to spot, like when you're pregnant and whatnot. So then it got more intense while I was at work, like the cramping and the bleeding. And then he was working far. I remember you were working somewhere far, or you were somewhere far. And so I went to the doctor's office, and I was there by myself when they did the sonogram, and the doctor came in and told me that the baby had passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hit hard.
You
Well-
called them right away?
I was on the way already.
He was on the way.
So when I walked in, she was just crying uncontrollably, and I already knew something was wrong.
Right.
And then that hit hard. Little did we know it was a journey we was about to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you feel?
I don't know. I felt lost. I was like,
We didn't expect that at
I didn't
all.
expect it. So I was like, this happens? Like, I think around the time, not a lot of women voice something like that. It's like shameful to them.
Right.
And so you just boil yourself up into a very dark corner, and you feel lonely, and you don't share it with anybody. You don't tell anybody. And so I felt really lost because I didn't understand, like, why did this happen? And I had so many questions, and it was like not anything we expected. But there was something in me telling me something's going on. Like, this is going to keep happening, or like this is going to be tough. And I told him, I'm like, I'm worried that this is going to be a problem. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, no. Like, I felt something telling me, like, this is going to be a problem.
Well, then we just kept trying. And then she got pregnant again.
How long after the first pregnancy?
Well, after the first pregnancy, I was so depressed.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave the apartment and the whole
Yeah,
Arizona
we wound up
in
moving
itself.
to Florida.
Yeah.
I wanted to run away so far from the memory of what just happened that I wanted to move. So we decided to move to Florida. And then while we were in Florida, I found a doctor. And, I looked up his reviews, Dr. Jackson in Florida. He's the best. And I went to him. I told him what had happened. And then he said, okay. And you know, I'm like, I keep trying and trying, and I'm like, I'm not really getting pregnant now. Like, we're trying and trying, I'm not really getting pregnant. So then he put me on Clomid.
What's Clomid for people who don't know, like me?
So Clomid is something that makes you ovulate regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So you're supposed to ovulate a certain time between your menstrual cycle, like when you have your period, you know, in the gap of or whatever. You're supposed to ovulate, and then that's how you get pregnant. And it's crazy because you ovulate 24 to 48 hours.
Wow.
And then that's the time you get pregnant. And the sperm could live in your body for 24 to 48 hours. So when you think about him and when he got, you know, Angelina's mom pregnant, and then when Elijah came around, like, you had literally 24 to 40 hours and it happened boom in that day, which is crazy because that's how it happens. It's not like, you know, it's like
Yeah.
you know. So when I started looking into this at the time.
So you're learning about like almost like the science
of it
of all of this,
Yeah.
right? Instead of just
Yeah.
like, princess, here's the prince, here's the ring, here's the
Exactly.
coach, and like, woo, like no,
No.
I gotta educate and
Yeah.
you're above average. You're a smart girl.
Thanks, yeah.
So you went down this rabbit hole and like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
this. Oh,
I
Yeah.
the
It was-
regiment.
It
Yeah.
came to a schedule. Now it's just like, where you at? It's 5:00. We need to go inside the house.
Yeah.
It got like that.
I don't know, but like at the time, so in Arizona, I started like a makeup channel because I was so into makeup, and I started a YouTube channel for it. So then when I had that first miscarriage, I felt so lonely, and I'm like, I wonder how many women feel like this.
Right.
And so I went on there, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about it. So I take the camera, and I turn that makeup channel into a whole infertility channel. And you'd be surprised how many women are struggling through the same thing. And like that, I started learning, like, the science behind it because I needed to understand what was going on because I couldn't just let the doctor figure it out. I needed to be in control of what was going on because this is something that I was so blindsided by. Like, we never
she was
expected
depressed,
it.
bad,
Yeah.
bad.
Like, really bad.
I always talk about this thing. It's a very common theme on this show and in my life, where like you feel like the sense of like betrayal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're just like, wait
Especially
a minute.
her, she
I'm
was,
like,
in, you know,
I'm like
she's-
doing all of this,
Mhm.
and then boom, and it's like not just like pain. It's like literally betrayal.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh man, I'm a fucking loser. Even though it doesn't even make sense to even think like that.
Of course.
You know, but
Yeah.
in those moments, it's just you and whatever that situation is,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like whipping your own ass.
Mhm.
Yeah, because like I said earlier, you know, having a baby at a young age in my family, it's like a disgrace, right? You don't give people nothing to talk about in our family. Don't you dare make us look bad. So, you know, all the years that I was sexually active and I protected myself and I held myself the way I was supposed to. I was responsible with my body and everything. When this is happening now, I'm like, really? Like, I did all the right things. Why is this happening to me? And I'm like, this isn't fair. Like, I wasn't irresponsible. I didn't come home ashamed to my mother. Like, none of that. And at this time that it's happening, now I'm talking to my mom, like, we're good. Everything's okay now. You know what I mean? Like, she's accepting of the relationship and she's realizing, like, okay.
But this is like 5 years in.
Yeah.
But we still haven't talked or met.
No.
Right.
So after the first loss, she started like, let me see who this guy is, because she see I was there for her. I just you know.
She started hearing, like, oh, okay.
But then,
You know,
so after the whole thing, then she got pregnant again.
yeah.
And
Right.
This time,
This was in Florida.
this is in Florida.
In Florida. So I get pregnant, and I believe 3, 4. So it wasn't until the third one where Olivia
No.
came. Right? I lost another one early.
She lost that one early.
Lost that one early, then got pregnant again. And that one lasted longer.
So that was like back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she lost
They
another
lo-
one.
You
So
lost
that-
two early.
down the road
Like
again.
early within the
depressed.
first couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like first couple weeks.
Like, I would get pregnant, right? The first one I got pregnant easy. The second one, it was a little hard. I'm on Clomid. I lose
Right.
that one. And then when I
Back
lose,
to depression.
yeah, back to depression.
Yeah, it's
because
like
you're
a cycle.
Yeah, you're at a high and then you go all the way back down. And then I remember I always like went into like the pregnancy apps and I would put like how far along I was, and there would be a due date. And so that month of the due date meant the world to me. So then when I lost it that month, I hated it because I knew that I could have been holding a baby.
Mm.
So then I got pregnant again the third time.
How long is it in between each pregnancy? Are you
Like
you
a
giving
month.
yourself time
No.
to grieve or any of this stuff? Or you're just
No.
like, you almost like hiding in the solution where like, I'm not going to deal with this, but because this is going to fix this. As long as I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I wasn't allowing it. I was just sad in the weeks where
Yeah.
I
Like
wasn't-
allowing yourself. You
No.
wasn't giving yourself that space.
No.
Do you think maybe, and I'm just asking, do you think maybe, I mean, everything happens in God's because it's supposed to, but like, do you think maybe that you didn't trust yourself to give yourself that space? Because if you did, you could have stayed in that space and been like, then I guess I ain't going to be somebody's mom.
Yeah.
Because these things, this is not like, you know,
Oh
it's
no,
traumatizing
she,
situation.
After like the second one, she was like, "I'm never gonna be a mom." She used to tell me, "Now you need to leave me. I'm not gonna be able to give you no kids."
Look at that. Look at the,
Yeah,
the role switch.
Yep.
Yeah. yeah.
Switch.
He used to tell you
She'd
to
tell me-
leave.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, yo, I'm a gambling crazy
Yeah.
motherfucker. You need to leave. And she's like, I'm an infertile bitch.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
to leave.
Exactly. And I used to be like, "No, it's gonna happen. Trust me." And she was like,
And I used to be
she swore up and down, like, "No."
You were
need to
losing
leave."
faith.
Yeah, she
no?
was.
more than anything. So it went from, in the beginning, he was mean to me. We would argue. And then I started being really, really mean to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he used to be so calm and so nonchalant, I used to be like, you don't fucking care. You already have 2 kids.
Mhm.
You don't need for a boy because you have a boy. You don't
Right.
need for a girl because you have a girl. You can't even want a gender because you have them both. You have kids, you know what it feels like to be wanted as a parent. I'm like you and I just can't be together. Like, you don't get it. And
Yeah.
I used to like come down on him like crazy. I used to be mad. He used to walk into a room, I didn't even want to see him. I used to be so upset. And then I felt even more alone because my partner can't share this grief with me 110%.
Right.
Not knowing that it was killing me even worse because I'm watching her go through all the losses, like not only mentally, physically. I'm watching her as she's passing these babies, going through pain. She go to the hospital.
Bro,
So-
you know, we used to be on the phone with him when you would be in there.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Are
that.
you kidding me?
Yeah.
This guy, he'd be broken.
Yeah.
Like almost like speechless. Like, yo, I don't care. Like, I'll stay on the phone. He don't even know there's no words. And not even, and again, not even for the loss, of course, of, losing a child. But he used to be like, Jed, I can't help her right now. Like, he used to be in that sorrow that he can't help you.
Yeah.
That he can't just, I can't put more chips on the table. There's nothing like the powerlessness we used to talk about all the time in the car. I knew about every one.
Yeah.
Because he would be suffering.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, but I got to be strong for her and whatever, blah, blah. I swear to God.
So those was hard, but then the third loss
Yeah.
was the hardest.
So then you get pregnant again for the third time.
Yeah. And with this one, it goes a little longer. So at this time, I was in Colombia and I was able to tell my family in a really funny way, like telling them, because they already know, like, we're trying to have a family and we can't,
Right.
you know.
Do they know that you had already lost a couple
Yeah.
of babies? Okay.
So they're, at this point, they're turning on all the little candles. They're going to church.
Yeah, they're praying.
They're praying. They're like, God, please. And so when I announce it, they're all crying, screaming, excited. They have me like on a pedestal, like, don't do this, don't do that, don't eat this, don't eat that. And like,
So was my family.
yeah.
We was excited.
Super excited. And
Then they threw a gender reveal.
before that, we went to our first scan when I got back from Colombia. And, you know, this is around the time that I guess we start learning more about, I started learning more about scans. He already knew because of his background. Like, he does ultrasound and stuff, but for the veins, so it's different. But we see, like, two sacs, like 2 round things in there. And I'm looking at the screen, and I'm like, is that 2? And so he's like, is that 2? And when we come to find out, it was twins. The third one was twins. And the text, she says to us, you know, because now the whole clinic knows us. They know us from the losses. They know us that we've been trying. The doctor's going hard, trying hard. And she tells me and him it was 2.
One of them is not. Like, there's no heartbeat on
There's
one
no
of them.
heartbeat on one, but there's heartbeat on the other one.
So we was like, it was like happy, sad.
Yeah.
Happy. One of them was good, but sad. Like, damn, one of them is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel at that moment?
You know, I'm just like, I guess it's selfish to say, but I'm like, can that other one harm this one?
Right. No,
Yeah.
it's a logical question.
I'm like, how do we remove it? Like, so it doesn't harm the one that's good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, like, the placenta will absorb, and they started explaining everything to me, and then I go home and I'm Googling
Oh,
again. And, you know, one thing that the doctor told me is Google's going to be your worst enemy.
She was Google best friend.
yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Google, WebMD.
Everything.
Google all the
Apps.
way.
She had like 4 different pregnancy apps.
I had all the apps. I had everything, and then
You
as
had like a
I'm-
lot of
And
like
then on top,
control.
Yeah.
she's on
Sounded
YouTube.
like control.
Yeah.
Like, YouTube too is a whole nother world.
As I'm doing videos on YouTube,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
I'm-
say you're doing your channel.
Yeah.
We're gonna put her channel in the show notes in case you
Yeah,
guys
they
can
could see
stop
that
fucking
story.
asking me.
But, yeah.
No, because they're gonna be like, "What's that channel?" while
Yeah.
they're listening. Yeah. So you're documenting this whole
Yes,
process,
the whole thing,
gains, losses, everything.
everything.
So
I'm
Right.
on
She
there
gained-
crying.
She gaining followers
Yeah.
off of it.
Yeah, of course, because
And
like
I'm-
people don't like to feel like they're alone.
Right. And I'm building relationships with these women, and now I'm like telling him, like, oh my God, there's so and so, and then there's so and so, and oh, she just had a loss. Oh, she can't get pregnant. I'm just like, oh. And so I'm watching videos too. That's not helping me, but I'm not knowing that at the time. I'm just like, this is what I need to do.
So we have a gender reveal
Yeah.
for the second one that is
The
It's
the
doing
one
good.
that's healthy, that's in there.
yeah. So we do a gender reveal, boom, big show. Find out it's gonna be a girl. We wanted a girl. Super excited.
I was 15 weeks pregnant,
Yeah.
Yeah, almost 3 months.
almost 4.
Almost 4 months. Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
work on your math,
Yeah,
boy.
I'm sorry.
For somebody who plays poker,
Yeah.
jeez.
It was,
the next day.
but it was crazy because I dreamt of a gender reveal all that time. Like,
She couldn't wait to have a gender
couldn't
reveal
wait.
party.
I kept thinking
Out
of
of
all
all
the
the losses.
different ways that I was going to plan this gender reveal. I kept thinking of all the different ways it was going to go. And then I also told myself, don't be selfish and ask for a boy or girl. Don't you dare do that. Just that
Yeah.
you be grateful for what you get. Because
Yeah.
I felt guilty for even wanting a girl,
Right.
you know? And so that night, so I got into the habit of listening to the heartbeat through an app on my phone. And that night after the gender reveal, you know,
Same night.
same night I put on the app and I'm watching Game of Thrones and I put it on. I don't hear anything. And he's like, maybe you just can't find it. Next day.
There's an app on the phone. Yeah, you put it, you could hear the heartbeat of the baby.
You put the phone on
to
your belly?
stomach.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
you hear the
Yeah.
heartbeat.
Okay.
That's how addictive it was. She's find anything. She found that app, and
Yeah.
that was the worst app to ever find, because this is our third. We already had 3 losses, so this is the 4th one. So now it's like
And this is the same night as the
gender reveal.
as the gender reveal. So
Yeah.
you couldn't find the heartbeat.
No. So come Monday,
Did you panic?
Yeah,
course.
Yeah, it was a shit show.
I was like, oh my God. And
I'm just like, relax, everything's all right.
And the next day, I try to listen for it again, nothing. And so I call the doctor. And I'm like, I don't hear, I'm like, I have this app and I don't hear the heartbeat. And they're like, well, that's not really too accurate. You know, it's okay. Are you bleeding? I'm like, no, I'm not bleeding. Are you cramping? And I'm like, nope, no cramping. And I'm just like, no, none of that is happening. So maybe I can't find it. I'm like, can I please come in so I could just hear the heartbeat? And so they were like, okay. They spoke to the doctor, and the doctor's like, let her come in. So we go. And we go into the sonogram room, and it's the same tech as always. And she does the thing, and we always look for the flicker. You see a little flicker on the screen, that's the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So by this time, we already know what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're looking, I'm looking, and as a matter of fact, that day they had a lady that they were training. And the regular tech, she was there. She said she was going to China, so she needed to get a replacement. They were training. So the girl says to the tech, so what do we do in this situation? And I turn over, and I'm like, what situation? And she was like, it's okay. We're just going to continue. I'm like, no, you're not going to continue. What situation? What is she talking about? And then she was like, calm down. It's okay. I'm like, don't tell me to calm down. I already felt it, Jay. I already felt it. He already felt it. And I was just like, she's like, the doctor's the one that has to read it. I'm like, okay, so bring the doctor. I start yelling, and I'm telling her, and I'm being mean. I'm like, bring him right now. Like, right now. And then he's like, calm down. And I'm just
This is the day after the gender reveal. We about to have a girl. Super excited. We got the name picked. Everything.
Yeah, everything. And so she was like, okay. So she goes, pulls the doctor out of the exam room that he was in with a patient. And he comes into the room, and he's like, guys, what's going on? And I'm like, Doc, I'm so sorry, but I can't wait to be put in a room, sit there for you to finish with a patient. I need to know what's going on. So he looks at it, and he's like looking at it, and I could tell by Angel's face, he already knew. But I needed to hear it from the doctor. And then he was like, I'm so sorry, guys. When he said, I'm so sorry, I screamed. The whole clinic heard me.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was so bad. I screamed. I was kicking. I was crying. I lost a J. All the losses that I guess I didn't properly grieve at that moment.
It all came.
Oof,
It must have been a lot.
So now we lost a set of twins.
Yeah.
That was tough. That one hit the hardest.
But
and right back.
the thing is with that one, it wasn't like the other ones where you could just go in for a little procedure.
Oh, yeah.
Undermining this, little. It's not like, they give you a pill, it passes through, you're cramping and it hurts a lot. No. With this one, he lets me cry and everything. He says, I'm going to give you guys some time. And Angel says, check again. He's like, it makes no sense. I already know it. Check again, he tells him. And I'm quiet because now he's speaking up. And if he speaks up, it's because he's feeling something. And he's like, check again. He makes him check again. And he's like, no. And I'm back to screaming, crying. And he's a mess. I'm a mess. He comes back in the room after we've, let it out a little bit. And he explains to us that the pregnancy's too far along for me to just pass it the way I have the other ones. I now have to go into the hospital, be induced, and push her out.
Full, you got to give labor to this dead baby.
Full
like a
on.
regular baby. So.
What did you think when you heard that news?
I told him I can't do that. He's like, I hate to explain this to you, but she has arms, she has legs. She's too big now for us to do. I don't do that procedure.
At 16 weeks?
15, 16 weeks, yeah.
Yep.
You think-
4 months.
You think how quickly they grow,
Yeah.
right?
Quick.
Yeah. And so we go into the hospital. My mom, she comes from New York.
That's when I finally meet her mom.
That's
After
when-
that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
First time.
What
Now
an
her mom-
introduction.
yeah. But now me and her mom are like best friends.
Cool.
Yeah. So now.
Yeah, I remember you got her a phone or something, right?
Oh, that was for her birthday.
Yeah. I was like, how's it going with the mom? He's like, oh, I got her a phone.
Yeah.
I was like,
Everything's
that was the progress
Yeah.
report. So that's how I knew. That's how I knew.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my mom comes and we go to the hospital, and there was a little bassinet in there for when they're born. And the nurse is like, do you need anything? And I looked at her and I said, can you please take that out of this room? I don't want that in here. She's like, of course. And she took it out. What I didn't know is once you're in the room, they put this little card on the door, and that little card indicates that you're grieving and that there's a loss of a baby. So they know how to approach you when they come into the room. And so I'm learning all these things, and I'm thinking I know everything there is to know, but little did I know I'm still learning all of this, you know? And so the process starts. Oh, man. I start getting contractions.
I'm gonna tell you, she went through it, but so everybody always knows how it is, how bad it is on the women's side. But to watch all of that on the guy's side, and there's nothing you can do, bro, that was tough. I've been through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And
War.
after all
You've
these,
been in war.
I've been in war. After 4 babies, still, and then on this one, I gotta watch her give. I'm there, like watching her give birth, push the baby out to the baby that passed away inside her. That was tough. That was hard. Then we see the baby. They give us the baby
You get us the baby.
to say goodbye to.
Wow.
See the arms. You see the legs. You see and
The
it was-
rib cage.
It was small. It was like the size of my hand.
The feet.
In my mind, I don't know if I would even want to see it.
I didn't want to,
You didn't want to.
Yeah.
but she did.
No,
so
of course.
I did. That was hard.
Yeah.
So I did that, but while I was going through the pains, and they were giving me stuff for the pains, and they're like, if you need an epidural, it shouldn't be necessary, but if you need it, the doctor said he'll give it to you. He'll give you, I think they had like Xanax for me to be calm and stuff like that. They were like, the doctor says that anything you want, you get. He was invested. You could tell he was
Yeah, it was good.
invested. He was
Yeah.
Good
This
doctor.
guy's been with you the whole time.
the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
And he's like invested, right? And then as I'm going through the pains, Jay, I'm screaming and I'm cursing. I'm like, all of this for nothing. All this for nothing. And I'm like, why the fuck is this happening to me? And then I'm literally screaming up at God, like, why are you doing this to me? My mom is in a corner crying.
Yeah.
It was all crying.
Everybody was a mess. The nurses, they were like, let it out, let it out. And I'm just like furious. And then she comes out. They bring a priest, and he asked me if I wanted to baptize her, and I said yes. And they did, and we named her Olivia.
No. That was tough. Then they put her like in a little, kind of like a casket type of thing, and they put all of the babies that way. They kind of buried them, kind of give them a proper burial type of thing.
But the thing with her is they told me that in order to get answers, they would have to take her to the lab
Oh yeah.
to understand
Yeah.
What
What happened?
what happened and to possibly prevent it.
Right.
And so I was like, in a lab, they're like, we're not going to tell you what we do in there, but that's where she would go if you want to get answers. So I said yes. And I think that was hard too, because
So brave.
I don't get to like bury her.
All these processes where I learned how strong she really is.
Yeah.
Because even though she was depressed and down and all this stuff,
Still
go-
not
to go
thinking
through that-
about herself.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy. Like I said, look at me. I'm like, I wouldn't even want to see it. I want to hide my head in the sand.
Yeah,
Like, yo, you're facing like everything like head on.
yeah.
Jeez.
back to back.
You sure you're not in the Navy?
The Navy, the Marines.
Yeah. Jeez.
Probably should have been.
Yep.
And so we do that. But at the time, there weren't like concrete answers.
Yeah, still no answers.
So I felt like, damn, I could have buried her the proper way. And I felt guilty for it because I didn't get answers from it until later on.
Right.
So after that, he tells me, I think we should wait.
Give your body a break.
Give your body a break. And so the doctor tells me the same thing.
Right, because this is how many pregnancies in how little time?
4 in
Four
like 3 years.
In 3 years.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Because it took us a total of 5 years
Yeah.
to get anywhere.
So you took a break. How long?
I can't.
Not that long.
Not that long.
Maybe a
but
year.
Not
Maybe.
that long because I kept like trying and I wasn't getting pregnant. But the worst part about it is after that, if I was depressed before, I was even more depressed now.
Right.
So now I was going to a therapist.
Good.
Now there was a nurse that was calling me regularly to check on me. And I remember I was sitting in the living room and talking to her, and she was like, how are you? And I was like, I'll be honest with you, I just don't find the purpose in my life anymore. And she was like, what do you mean? Now she's like diagnosing to see if I'm,
Yeah. Wellness check.
Yeah. And she's like, what about your husband? And I'm like, he doesn't get it. She's like, what do you mean? She's like, it's his losses too, even though you can't see. I'm like, he doesn't get it. He has kids. And
She hated me, bro.
I hated him. Like,
Because I had kids.
Now.
And I didn't understand.
And now it wasn't, not only do you understand, but now I envy you.
Yeah.
Now I envy you, And so I told her, I was like, I literally say, I'm too much of a coward to take my own life. I'm too scared. But if I wasn't, I totally would.
Yeah. Were you surprised about how you felt towards him? Like with yourself? Like, I can't believe I'm thinking about him like this?
Not yet, probably.
Not yet.
Yeah.
It did come a time where I was like, oh my God. He's been holding this in the whole time.
Right, but it's like in those moments, like, when you help people now, you know what it's like when somebody's in that space.
Yeah.
When they can only see what's in front of them and with them, and there's nobody else.
Yeah.
That it's possible
Yeah.
for somebody to be that. I don't like the word selfish because it's not the right word. But I mean, I call it like self-centered. Like it's against your will. You're not willfully saying fuck him because it's against your will. You're in this space where that's all that there is.
Yeah.
You're the center.
Yeah.
Regardless of anybody, and his kids fucking like love you.
Yeah.
And but no. It's this one thing.
Yeah.
So when do you turn the corner and say, okay, we're gonna try again?
I think I got pregnant on my own. I mean,
Not without him.
I think we started, after that, I started to focus on myself. And then I was like, okay, let's just have fun with it. Because prior to this, which we forgot to say, is we're on a tight schedule.
Sure.
We're on every other day in the course.
Mm-hmm.
And the day that we're supposed to have in the course, it's like as much as possible.
Right.
So now it's not even like, to be real, like, it's not even like fun.
No, it's not.
No, yeah.
It's not even for pleasure because as soon as we're done, I'm like, get away from me. I have to elevate my legs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, go, goodbye. You're done here. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you did
Now
what you had
I gotta still pay the bills.
Yeah.
So I'm paying the bills and I'm stressed.
And I'm just there, just elevating my legs. And, this is like a schedule now, a strain on us.
It took the love out of making love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
And so I got pregnant again. And I lost that one again.
Yeah.
And then I got pregnant the 5th time. And I lose that one again.
That's 6, huh?
That 5th, 4th, 5th? 5th.
No, 6.
Oh, we did lose 6. Yeah.
6 times. So after Olivia, we lost 2 more.
2 more.
Two
Yes.
more.
In another 2-year span.
Yeah. So then that's when I'm like, you know what? I'm going to look into surrogacy. There's something wrong with me.
What's surrogacy?
So that's when you can either hire somebody to carry your baby.
Right. Okay.
So they get inseminated. Well, they do an IVF process. So in the lab, they'll take my egg, they'll take his sperm, put it together, make a embryo, and they implant that into her.
Right.
And so
Because
she
you're
can-
thinking something's wrong with you.
yeah.
Mhm.
And we didn't, at the
Are
time,
the doctors saying anything?
not really. He's just
There's still
saying-
really no answers for all of the stuff
No.
that's happening.
Wow.
None.
None.
Like, there's no answers for us.
Yeah.
So she's doing all the experience now. She's going infertility specialist,
Oh yeah.
money after money, and now I'm getting upset because I'm like, all these people want is fucking money from us.
Right.
That's all they
Yeah,
want.
because people don't understand.
No.
This shit is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The IVF,
went-
right?
yeah.
We went to a fertility.
That was way out of our budget.
Yeah.
And even some of the stuff that we did do, she did a whole GoFundMe. People were sending us money,
Yeah.
helping us pay for this because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah. So when we went to a fertility
Bitch,
clinic.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I
I,
would have gave you $5. I send you the French fry money.
yeah, every birthday.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. So we went to the fertility clinic within this process, and we noticed real quick how much money is what their main goal is. And I got several procedures done to see what was going on.
No answers.
No answers. So you're spending this money and no answers. Now, mind you, I had good insurance at the time, but it only goes to show how much it covers.
Right.
So we do this GoFundMe, we get a certain amount, and then one of his friends, Angie, shout out to her because she was
Angie.
our number one supporter
Yeah, she was collecting money from everywhere.
everywhere. She was telling
helped
her-
us a lot.
Yeah, she was telling her friends, her family. She was just, and then the part that we were missing, she just sent it.
Yeah, randomly.
Just
Talking
randomly.
about $1,000 here, $500 here. Like, I'm like, Angie, what are you doing? Just take it. I don't care.
She went through losses too.
Yeah,
She
Hey, you
knew.
see?
yeah. She was a blessing.
Yeah. So, we had angels along the way.
Yeah.
And we do all of that and nothing. And so I'm like, okay, I need a surrogate.
Then before that, then we want to let's get married. We need some type of happiness around
Happiness.
here.
Yeah.
That's when we wound
Yeah.
up throwing the wedding.
The
You
wedding.
came to
Yeah.
the wedding.
Yeah, it was so
Did
good.
it all crazy. We needed some happiness. Even at the wedding, you don't remember the table.
The entrance of the
Yeah.
wedding
I
was
had
a table.
she had the picture of Olivia
And all the other babies I
and
lost.
the other babies we lost. Like a whole table for them. Table with my cousin, my brother,
Yeah.
my grandfather, her uncle. So we
So
did,
it was like a dedication of memory of the people that passed, and I had the pictures of the babies that I lost there. A lot of people at that wedding had no idea, and when they would get to the table, they were like, what is this? And then, they started asking his mom, like, what's that about? And she was like, they've lost a lot of babies.
Yeah.
went through it.
Going through it. A lot of people come up and they tell you, like, be patient when the time is right.
Oh yeah, they always say the wrong thing. When you talking to somebody that's having losses, there's nothing you can say to help, and it'll happen when it's gonna happen. Is the worst thing to say.
Yeah.
Just be patient.
When you calm down, it's going to happen. Don't
Give your
ever
body
say-
some
Oh, my
rest.
God.
You stressing too much.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, shut up. You have no idea.
And what's crazy is I would come and I would tell him, like, babe, somebody said this and that. Because at the time, I didn't have that backbone that he taught me to have. Because I was so sensitive in the beginning. Remember when he met me? So then when I would go and tell him, he would be like, who said that? And I'd be like, so-and-so told me, like, when are you having kids? It's taking a while. And I'm like, I'm trying. And they're like, okay, well, it's going to happen. You just see. Don't worry. Everything happens for a reason.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. And then when I would tell him I lost babies, they'd be like, everything happens for a reason. And I would go and I would tell him, like, what the fuck is the reason of me losing so many babies?
And on
to
top of that,
person?
everybody around us keeps getting pregnant and having
Oh.
babies. That was even the hardest part.
Yeah.
Everybody, all her friends having babies, getting pregnant. People, my younger sister, she's 17. She gets pregnant with twins.
I remember.
That was like, we was so happy for her, but we was so mad. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was bad, though.
That was a funny one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. Whoa.
Shout out to Leah.
Oh, she's the best.
She is.
Yeah, she's killing it for sure.
So you guys have this wedding,
Yeah, and it's
You-
amazing.
and what happens next?
So then right after that is when I lost the sixth one.
Mm.
And that's when I hit up the surrogacy agency and I meet this lady, another angel in Norway, like on her path. She tells me, ask me questions about everything that's going on. She's like, I really don't think you're there yet where you need a
Imagine
surrogate.
that. Yeah.
I don't think you're there yet. And she's like, part of the agency.
Yeah, she's a professional.
Now, after
Yeah.
the sixth one is when I finally start thinking to myself, we ain't gonna have no kids.
Right.
Because all the way up to then, I'm like, we gonna have kids. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. But now I start getting discouraged on the low.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, this ain't gonna happen.
And it's funny. It's like this is like when you finally let go.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, somebody's like, "Nah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
don't let go yet."
Random.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's God right there.
Oh, yeah. And then I was like, what? And then she was like, listen, there's this fertility specialist. I'm like, no, I already went to a fertility clinic. And she's like, no, but he's also a miscarriage specialist. And I'm like, oh. She's like, he's based out of Boston. I will give you his number. I'm like, okay. Gives me his number. We wait for the appointment because it's weeks out. And then we decide after the one that I lost, we decide we're going to go to New York. And we're just going to have fun as a couple finally and just, let it go. And I'm like, I'm just going to put it in their hands now. I'm tired of having so much control and not getting anywhere. And we have this appointment with the doctor, and he tells me, okay, I want your body to fully process this miscarriage, and then what we can do is I need all your medical records. And so I tell him about Olivia, and he says, I especially need that one. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm going to look it over, and then we're going to talk in another appointment. And I was like, okay. And then he says to me, we get to that appointment, and then he says, I'm noticing that there is a blood situation, like a blood clot situation. The blood is not getting to the baby properly. So what happened with Olivia was, and I'm like, wait, I thought there were no answers. He says, no, on the report, what happened to her was she wasn't getting the full blood that she was supposed to be getting. So in your case, I feel that you need to be on something called Lovenox, which is an injection that you put in your abdomen
When you're pregnant.
while you're pregnant. And that will loosen up like your blood, and it'll make it easier to go to the baby.
Like a blood thinner.
A blood
It
thinner,
is a blood
yes.
thinner.
Yes, exactly. And then he's like, and I would put you on progesterone injections as well, and baby aspirin. And I'm like, okay. This now to me sounds like a concoction of faith, and I'm loving it. He's like, what we will do is we will do IVF, where we can make sure that the embryo is in perfect condition, and then I will put you on these injections. I said, okay, great. He says, I need you to get your period. When you get your period, you're going to call the office. You're going to let them know. We're going to make an appointment for the next follow-up, and we're going to go from there. Okay, great. Do that. We go to New York. We have a good time, all of that. And then the morning of the appointment of that follow-up, I'm like, I feel funny. And I take a pregnancy test. And I am pregnant for the 7th time. And I tell Angel, I'm like, oh, God, I just messed this up.
It's crazy part is that, real quick, now, at this point, when she tells you that she's pregnant, you're not even that excited no more.
Anymore.
Now
No.
you scared.
Yeah.
You more scared than anything.
Yeah.
It's not like, yes, we about that. No,
No.
now you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I can't go through this shit again.
Now I'm like, damn it. Now I got to wait to lose this one so I can start the process with the doctor. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to lose it. Now I have to wait like a whole other month before I can start this process. And so that morning we get on the phone with the doctor and we're like, he's like, okay, so this is the plan. You're going to start on these injections that's going to help, blah, 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 for the egg and whatnot to get you ready for IVF, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we have a
We got a
problem.
problem.
And he's like, what? And I'm like, well, I'm pregnant. He's like, oh. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was like,
He was good. He was like, that's good.
he's like, that's great. And I'm like, what do you mean it's great? I'm going to lose this one too. And he's like, no, I'm going to put you on injections. He's like, this is what we're going to do. He's like, these are the injections you need to go on. Tell Dr. Jackson. I tell Dr. Jackson, he doesn't even question me.
Yeah, that doctor would do whatever she called, he would just do it.
He would just do it.
No question.
So I'm like, okay, here we go. So I start getting shots, and who's putting them? Angel is.
I got to give her 2 shots every night for 9 months.
In her belly?
Her belly and her cheeks.
My behind.
Wow.
One in her stomach and one in her cheeks.
The one in my stomach.
Even
hurts
as the
so bad.
pregnancy's growing,
The
Yeah.
whole 9
you
months.
got to put the... I'd be scared to
Jay,
put the
2
needle in
listen.
the belly.
2 a day.
Oh,
No, it's not in the belly. It's like in the
I wouldn't
groin.
even want to go near it,
Yeah.
right?
And it burns.
It hurts.
It hurts. And then I have pictures of my belly was so bruised.
Sure.
Like when they would do the ultrasounds and stuff, the sonograms, they would be like, oh my God, what happened? I'm like, I'm on injections. They're like, you just say it like nothing. I'm like, yeah. And my pregnancy, Jared, starts growing and
Now we're
growing.
getting past the 6. Now our goal is always get past the 15 weeks where we lost Olivia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel as you were approaching the 15 weeks?
We were terrified.
The whole 9 months. Well, she couldn't even call me at work.
Yeah.
When I was at work and she'll call me, I'll answer the phone super scared. I'm in the middle of a patient and I had to leave out. Answer the phone like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I just wanted to know what you wanted for dinner." I'm like, "Do not fucking call me while you're," because I was so scared.
Yeah.
I was traumatized. We both had PTSD from that shit. I was so
Yeah.
scared for her to call me because I always thought that was the phone call I was gonna get.
Yeah.
And, anything. He started setting rules for me, like, do me a favor, unless it's an emergency, don't call me at work.
Yeah.
He's like, text me. If it's not an emergency, don't call me. I'm like, okay. I'm not thinking how he's feeling
Right. This whole time.
this whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Because
6 years.
remember, like you were in
Yes.
like sicko mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it starting to dawn on you a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Because-
this guy's been here with me the whole time.
Yeah. And then as, now I have a full-on belly, and now I'm feeling the baby kick. And when he comes home from work, like if I'm like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to, he just fine, it's fine, it's okay. What do you want to eat? I'll just go buy it. I'll go buy it. It's fine. I'm like, okay. And I'm like getting spoiled all these years. But now is when he's like really spoiling me. I'm looking at him like, I think I'm starting to notice how much it's affected him over the years that I had no time to focus on what he was feeling because of what I was feeling.
Right.
So then good old COVID comes along that time that I'm pregnant.
Mm.
And they're starting to, what they do is they were having women give birth and they would separate them from the baby because of COVID.
Yeah, at first they were saying I couldn't even go in with her to give birth to the baby. I was like, that's not happening.
I'm like, that's not happening. I'm like, yeah. I told him, I'll
that
tell
was at
Dr.
the height
Jackson.
of that was at the height of COVID.
Yeah.
Remember how COVID was crazy.
I was here.
Yeah, we was here.
And then they realized that by separating the mom and the baby it wasn't doing good on the baby, so they cut that rule out. So I'm like, okay, thank God. So then he gets COVID.
Oh, I got COVID, yo.
And I'm like a month from giving birth. And I'm like, you're in Elijah's room, goodbye. He
Stuck in the guest room.
stuck in the guest room, and I'm leaving him his food outside the door
Like a
with gloves,
like an animal.
with a hazmat suit. Like, honestly, I did everything. And then, like, his dishes were his dishes. I wouldn't touch them. And then, like, literally, he's in there, and I would leave the food, and then I would leave into the other room and be like, okay, you can open the door now. And then I would close the door, and that's how he would get his food. If he was going to go shower, I would
Like
have
jail.
to. Yeah.
Not even. It was just a crazy time, man. 'Cause
No,
it's
but
like,
rightfully so.
Yeah.
You made it so far. There's no reason
Yeah.
to gamble now.
No.
Nah, I just slept in the car for the whole
Yeah.
COVID to make sure she was good.
Yeah. And then I started getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
But he was done. It was all out of his system. He tested negative after and all that stuff. And then it was out of his system. He was going to work. And then I started getting sick. And I get tested. And they're like, you don't have COVID. You have the flu.
Oh, like the regular flu?
Yeah.
The regular.
Oh, good old flu, right? And I'm like, oh, and I'm like super sick. And I'm sick, and I'm sick, and I have this bad cough, and I'm sick, and I'm sick. I got tested again. Nope, you don't have COVID. And I'm like, I feel like death. And then I'm like there. I'm like a week away.
Then she starts getting like labor pains.
Well, before that, I remember Friday, I called him, and I was like, I don't feel good at all. I said, you need to take me to the hospital when you get home from work. Like, because he was like, it was like 3. He was going to get out at 4. And I was just like, I can't breathe. I don't feel good. And he was like, okay. So, you know, I called my mom, and I'm like, Ma, he's at work. Just stay on the phone with me in case I collapse. That's how bad I felt, and I wanted to take a shower. And I'm coughing excessively. I coughed so much that I coughed out what they call the mucus plug, which is what comes out before you start to go into labor. So it's a sign of, okay, you're going to start getting contractions. And sure enough, I start getting some pains. And I tell him, like, oh, my God, I coughed on my mucus plug. He's like, oh, what is that? And then he starts Googling, too. And now we're both Googling, you know. And he takes me to the hospital. They do another test, and they're like, you don't have COVID, but you have pneumonia.
The flu and pneumonia.
Wow.
Yep.
And the baby's heart rate is kind of low. She's like in a little bit of distress because you don't feel good. I'm like, oh, God. So stressed out, they send me antibiotics and all these things. So I tell him, like, you know what? Go back to the other room. Because if I'm sick like this and I end up having the baby, she can't be around me. I'll just pump. And you're going to have to take care of her. I don't want to be sick like this and get her sick. So you need to be good. So go to the other room. Again, go over there. So that night I go to sleep. I wake up at 2 to go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom. I lay back down. I start feeling contractions. I'm like, okay. Still my eyes closed. Feel contractions again. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, no. Feel them even more intense. And I sit up. And I'm like, if it comes again and it's intense, I'm waking him up. Comes intense. I go to the other room. I wake him up. I'm like, babe, wake up, wake up. And he's like, what? And I'm like, it's time. And he's like, where's my sweatsuit? And I'm like, what?
I'm like, have you seen my green sweatsuit?
Oh, funny.
He was pissed.
I was like, what are you talking about? This is it. Go to the hospital. They're like, you're really sick. And I'm like, yeah, I have pneumonia and I have the
So
flu.
now they're going to induce her to help go faster.
Well, not yet.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, well, we need to do a COVID test on you because... And I'm like, I've had like 4. And they were like, let me see the test. I had 3 of them, and they were all negative. They see the whole thing with the pneumonia, and I'm like, they test me. They come back, and they're like, you have COVID.
Oh, shit.
She got the flu, pneumonia, and COVID.
It's crazy.
And she's about to go into labor.
They're like, Dr. Jackson doesn't want you to go anywhere. You have to stay. But the plan now is we need to get you better so you can push. So they start talking to like a lung specialist, this specialist, that specialist. They do the x-ray again to confirm I have pneumonia. Yes, you have pneumonia, you have the flu, you have COVID, you're in labor. Like, all right, let's slow everything down, and then we're going to speed everything up because her heartbeat is showing she's in distress because you're so sick. It's making her not feel good. So they induce me. They do the whole thing. I get the epidural. And Sunday is Mother's Day. And she's born on Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day.
Wow.
7 babies later.
7 babies later.
She's finally here on Mother's Day. How crazy was that?
What did it feel like for you?
It felt like a gift. I was like, I feel like God's really looking at me and saying, I'm doing this for you because you deserve it, and you deserve it on this special day. And nobody on that floor gave birth that day other than me. And I was like, wow. Like, this was, I couldn't believe it. When she came out, I was just like, I'm waiting for you for 5 years.
Sophie Love.
Sophie Love is her
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. That was
And
it
she,
was crazy.
bro, she pushed for like 20 minutes and the baby came out.
Boom. They were like, you're a really good pusher.
And she was sick. She pushed for like 15 minutes.
Boom.
When the contraction started getting crazy, the baby came in like 15 minutes.
Yeah. They were like, first time moms usually take a couple hours. They're like, you're really good at this. And I'm like,
Man,
I've been
this ain't her
prepared.
first time.
Yeah,
It ain't really her first time.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy.
What was it like for you?
One, I was relieved. Like, I think I let out like a deep ass breath when the baby came out and breathed, because then I could finally breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't breathe for all those years. I was holding in my breath every day because I was scared. So then when the baby came, I'm like, now I can breathe. My job is done. I just go on from there. But it was bad, man.
I
it was
remember
hard.
he was holding her. He was like, he let out like a big, like, and he's like, you don't understand how much I was stressed out at work. You would call me. I swear
That's why I
to
started telling
God,
her
I would
everything
freak
that
out. He
I was
starts-
feeling.
Yeah.
Now I can tell her how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Everything. And he's crying as he's telling me, and I'm just looking, I'm like, oh my God, you've been suffering all these years too. That is when I realized it wasn't just me. It wasn't everything that I thought and felt. It wasn't that he already had kids, he didn't want them, or he didn't really care. It wasn't that. I mean, he's always given me everything I want. I'm spoiled. I know that. I'm spoiled ever since with my parents, and then I was spoiled with him. And it's like, this is the one thing he was just not able to give me. He wasn't able to do anything for me. And in that moment, I just saw it all. And I just realized how tough it was.
How do you feel now?
I'm so grateful because after that, I don't even wait and we get pregnant again.
Yeah, and we been trying all this time. We didn't expect, not even 2 months later, she's pregnant.
They told me at the hospital, you need to give your time,
Yeah,
your
give
body
your body
time.
some rest.
You're really fertile right now. I said, what? I'm really what? I got pregnant.
They said the wrong thing to you. They're like, we've been practicing.
I said, what?
Did you do the same system with the shots and all that other stuff, or no?
No.
For the second one, we just let it be.
And we know now that we can't do that because she stopped growing in my belly.
Come to find out, Sony Love, our second child, she stopped growing at how many weeks?
36.
Like 2-3 weeks, like 2 weeks before she gave birth to her, she stopped growing.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have lost her.
Mm.
When she was finally born and they tested the placenta because it was, part of it was just like
Weird.
dead. Like it was just like not, it looked like it was a 42-week-old placenta. Like the placenta didn't look right. So the doctor is looking at it and she's like, what's going on here? This is calcified. Like, and I'm like, what is that? And she just explains, and then they test it. And the Dr. Jackson says, truthfully, a placenta like this would cause a stillbirth, which is when the baby's born with no life at full term. And so
That was scary.
That was so
So
scary.
Sony was born early?
No, she was born because
Pretty much on time.
the thing with me is they can't let me go past 39 weeks. So that's one of the rules for me to be safe as well, which is also what the miscarriage specialist said. Like, you have to be induced at 39 weeks, and you can't go past that. So she was born at 39 weeks, but it's just that she stopped growing at 36.
Okay.
So that to us was like
She doesn't look like it now.
Oh, my God.
That girl, crazy, man.
Bro.
She's big. She's bigger than the older
I
sister.
know.
Yeah.
She's heavier than her.
If you
bigger than
ask,
her.
if I know who is who,
Mhm.
but if you would ask a stranger, like,
Yeah.
Sony's the older sister,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sophie's the older sister.
I know.
Yeah.
But they would think Sony's the older
yeah.
sister.
Yeah, for sure.
They say it to me all the time. They're like,
First they think they twins,
yeah.
but then they think
But
that
Sony
she's
look like she's in charge, boy.
Yeah,
she is.
Yeah,
She's
she
a
is.
handful. I tell you, she's from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Sophie's from Colombia.
Hmm.
Sony was named after Sonia, after
Yeah, after your aunt.
my aunt slash mother, and she's definitely her
Yeah.
because she got that strong will.
So what are your guys' plans? Like, it's easy to, it's one thing to live through what you guys lived through. It's another thing to like relive like what we just did now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can really see like what happened. It's like,
now we got to relive it.
now you gotta like, you gotta say that you gotta, it's almost like everybody deserves a break
Hmm.
coming out of that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And sometimes
I mean,
it's-
we've been blessed since, though. We've been doing really good. We bought a house, cars. So, all of it has been coming back to us one way or another.
yeah, but it's also important for each of you to give each other like the space to like, however, like you said, like that grief, like however it comes out, if it comes out some other, like, it would be abnormal for you two to just be like, all right, we're just gonna hold hands and skip down the road,
Yeah.
like
No,
nothing
It's
happened.
been tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it would be abnormal if it wasn't tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, they have a saying like in like AA, they say like, God doesn't save you from drowning to beat you up on the beach.
Right.
Like you guys are out of the water. And now it's just, now it's just time for like a lot of healing. And
Yeah.
it's easy when the babies are little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think once, okay, I have a baby, I'm good now. Like I had the baby, she's good. Then you realize, wait a minute. I realized she wasn't in my belly anymore. So I wasn't protecting her anymore. Like I wasn't like protecting her from the world. So then with Sophie Love, I went into this thing where she could not be out of my sight. I would have a panic attack. And I had one when we went out one time, and I go running to the car. I'm like, I can't be away from her. Oh, my God. And the next day I'm calling the doctor, and they're like, you just have PTSD.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. Like, now you feel like the world's going to get her because it was getting you. Something was like, you felt like something was attacking you, not letting you have your babies, and now she's out of the belly, and now you're concerned, so you deal with that. And it's like, it just never stops, honestly.
Yeah, now you're somebody's mom.
Now I'm somebody's mom.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Than,
2.5.
Yeah. It's like, it's a whole nother, you're like, whoa. This person, they're my assignment.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at my kids. Like, these kids are my assignment.
And along the way, you meet people who haven't had kids and who are trying to have kids. And now I think we know what to say. And I think the first thing I say when I hear somebody say, I did get pregnant, I had a loss, I'm like, I'm so sorry. That's more empathetic than saying, it's going to happen. I don't say that. I don't ever say that. So it's like you learn.
Yeah. I mean, because the truth is there's nothing. If there was anything that could have been said, he would have said it to you.
Yeah.
There's no word.
No.
There's no word except for I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And how can I help? Or if you need any, I'm here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And like, and it's so hard to let time do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's only time is just that's the only thing it's gonna take. And these two, they're so like clueless.
They have no idea.
They have no idea.
No.
And even when they get older, they're gonna be like, "No, I'm taking the car," and like whatever.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, "Bro, you don't even know." It's like, because I forgot the number. I don't want to stop and Google, but I know there's a number.
For what?
It's like, for a human being to be born, it's like 1 in like 700 million to 1. Those are the odds of just one human being born, one sperm, one egg meeting and going all the way through. Like the odds are like, I'm going to look it up because it's staggering.
Yeah.
No, I swear to God, you're going to be like, holy shit. And then you'll be like, wow, there's 8 billion of us. Let's see, odds of humans being born. 1 in 400 trillion. The odds of any of us being boredom, 1 in 400 trillion.
That's crazy.
That's what it
insane.
takes for, you know what I'm
It all
saying?
to go down.
And these two are over here like, meh, meh, meh.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
just for one, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I feel like when Sophie's of that age where it's time for me to tell her our story, you know, I get to tell her, like, you have no idea how much you are loved,
How much we fought for you.
how much we fought for you.
Yeah.
You
And the
didn't
rest
give
of us
up.
been waiting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been waiting, you know.
That's why now it's
Like you guys were fighting, we was waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of-
That's why, like, I also, I mean, you can't expect this from people, but I always feel like, you know, my girls should be looked at as a miracle because that's what they are.
Yeah. Totally.
That's why her mother treats them like that.
A
She's like
miracle.
the only one that treats them like that,
Yeah.
other than us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, she's like, you know how much we prayed for you?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
always.
Because remember, she don't
like-
have no other kids.
Yeah.
Her
Oh,
mom,
yeah,
her
the
mom don't have no
just has
kids.
you, right?
So that she was waiting for a grandkid too. Her mother's
Yeah.
already like 70 years old.
Yeah.
She's
Meanwhile,
older.
your mom got grandkids.
She her mom has a million grandkids, so she's just
got
like
so many,
another
it's like,
grandkid.
all right,
Yeah.
there's another one.
Yeah.
To a son.
Yeah.
So now we went through all that. Now here we are, 2.5 kids later.
It's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So what's next?
What we got, like 7 months?
3. So, like, in August, we should be having our third.
Oh my God. I was counting the Olivia as the half.
No,
No, so you're having another baby
she's pregnant
I
right
am
now.
Holy
pregnant
shit.
again.
right now. Right now.
Right now.
Nobody knows. So
Are
this
you
is-
allowed? Are you allowed to drink that Gatorade?
Yeah,
it's zero.
yeah, it's
Alright.
zero.
Oh man, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it'll be first time anybody hears it on.
it's gonna be on the
this.
show.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Well, this was really unexpected.
Yeah, this one was more like, shit, what are we doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Because our house is crazy now.
Yeah,
It's
you
just-
guys have like, well, first off, now you're showing up with another dog,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like, aside from baby crazy, ladies and gentlemen, they are freaking dog crazy.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. So the dog thing started because she kept losing all these kids. I'm like, I got to do something for this girl. I'm going to start giving
Oh,
her
yeah.
puppies now.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm buying puppies here and there. Now we got 3 dogs. Well, it'll be our 4th dog, but one of them, my oldest was so attached to, we wind up giving him to her.
They were meant to be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Angelina has
Jax.
Jacks that we have. So we have
Which
2
one is
at
that?
home.
The Shar-Pei?
No, that's the
that was
Yorkie.
the small Yorkie.
Oh, the
one.
Yorkie.
Yeah.
Okay,
So now at home we have 2. So now we about to bring home 3.
Yeah.
insane.
And mind
it's
you,
crazy.
I'm-
This is a shit show.
It's like a
I'm-
halfway house.
Yeah,
like
it's-
legit.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm at home with the girls, so I don't
I didn't
work.
want this last dog, but my yeah.
I'm at home with the girls. I don't work. So, you know, I have that privilege. I'm very grateful to him because I'm able to raise my daughters the way I want to.
Oh, but you have to be there.
And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
there. You know, I'm
No,
like,
you
yep,
have to.
this is what it is. And so, you know, I'm at home with them 24/7. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have a newborn and 2 toddlers.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
That's why you needed another dog? Is that what you're thinking? like,
Listen,
I wasn't thinking, honestly.
oh, man.
I'm like, okay, the dog will be a distraction to the girls so that
Right.
I can be over here breastfeeding my 3rd baby.
That's incredible.
it's gonna be crazy, but
It is.
how can we not be happy about it after everything? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like what are we gonna do? Well,
No, you can't say no now.
we can't say no.
No, never.
No, no.
Like you said, she was on like birth control.
Yeah.
She got off of it, and it's supposed to be good for a certain amount of time.
I've been on it for a year and change.
So it's
Right.
supposed to. Bro, she wasn't even off it for like not even a week,
No, I wasn't.
and
Yeah.
our asses. And so now it's like
I was in the process of literally calling my insurance. Like, why are they saying that I don't have insurance? I was
yeah,
in the
something
proc-
happened with the
with
insurance. So I was like, but we thinking that we still got time.
He's like, hey, are we good? I'm like, yeah, we're good.
I'm
And
like, are
we're-
you sure? Me, you know us, Jay.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need it. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we was wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're here now.
No, I'm with it.
But
Yeah.
like you said, you can't can't go back now. What are we supposed to do?
No,
Now we got to step up again.
no, it's beautiful. But at least now you know the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still doing your channel?
So I kind of let go.
She got so crazy about the babies that she didn't think about nothing else, bro. Nothing.
I just want.
And I always tell her like, why you need to go back on the channel?
I think
But
so.
and then also she felt
Because you're a very good communicator.
she
Thank you.
felt like kind of guilty towards those girls for some reason.
I
Because she used to
did.
tell me that like all the girls that follow me is girls that's in my position trying to have babies. Now here I'm gonna come all excited
Like,
with
look
babies.
at my baby.
So she
Yeah.
felt guilty to, and I used to, and still to this day I tell her to go back on there, but she'll go back on.
The thing is that there were some women that would have their baby, and they would come on the channel, show the baby, and never talk about infertility again, and be mindful to those women. So I did do a live where I was telling them, like, honestly, I feel really bad. I don't want to come here and be like, look at my baby. And I'm not forgetting you guys. It's just that I don't want to be boasting about this life that I now have that I'm so grateful for while everybody else is struggling. So, like, I told him, like, I don't know how to get out of that and how to, like, do both, you know?
You'll find a way.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I want to go back. And
What's
I'm going to
your
go
What's
back.
your YouTube?
My Rainbow Wish.
Yeah. You
There's
text
your
me the
name, too.
link.
There's your name on it too, no?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
your
you
name.
text me the link. I'll put it in the show notes. Or for less than a dog, you can have it set up like this with a freaking microphone, and you can just talk into the mic.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, it's been
Everybody,
a
I
long
hope you enjoyed the show. This super special episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms. We all want to say congratulations to Angel and Joseph for a new baby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And, oh man, they just kissed in front. I'm gonna throw up. All right, guys, we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on The Sober Experience. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms, as well as share some of these episodes with the rest of your family and friends. We'll see you around.